Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Independent City Council meeting. It's Tuesday, November 28th, 2017, 6:30 in the evening, and everybody is recovering from Thanksgiving. There's some happy people here. I think they had turkey. Good evening, folks. Nice to see you. Records show that all council members are here and present. Council members, you have the meeting of November 14th in your packet. Does that meet with your approval?
A question?
Please.
Page 5, first paragraph, last sentence. The $3.2 does not include the IFA loan or amount. I'm thinking there ought to be $1 million underneath, behind that.
No.
I think, is that on page 4?
Or maybe it's $32 million.
I'm sorry, I'm still trying to find which.
Did you say page 4 again?
I think it's page 4.
No, on mine it's page 5, but it's 5.3 D at the end.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I see. 3.2 does not, yeah.
And where was that at?
And the very, very last, just before unfinished business, the last sentence before unfinished business.
Well,
I
that,
think that's 32 million, I believe.
Hmm?
I believe that should be 32 million.
That's what I'm thinking.
Instead of 3.5 million?
Is that the one, are we all looking at the same place?
That's the total, and I think that's supposed to be the total indebtedness, which would have been around about 32 million.
that's
I think it's 3.2 million. I don't think it's 32.
because that's discussing the hotel site.
Mhm.
Right, and it references 3.5 million just before the page break.
Okay.
So should those two figures jive? Should it be 3.5 in each place? Oh, no. The second one should be 32.
I think it's 32 million. We're talking about the total city indebtedness in time,
Yes.
I believe.
Yes,
Does everybody agree that that should be 32?
yes.
Staff sees it that way too. Ken, does that?
Yeah, I mean, there were questions about the additional debt that is not yet fully incurred.
Right.
It's not included, which brought it up to the 40 million that was being discussed otherwise, but 32 million was the debt that is the debt at this point in time.
So is that a motion for change?
Sure, that's not the only one. That's
Okay, so let's note that one. You have another one you wanted to follow up, Ken?
7.2.
2.
It's sewer DEQ loan.
Yeah.
Councilor Morgan would like to see a formal denial. Did you ever get that?
I don't think there is such one. I don't think there is a formal document if I recall correctly.
No, but it was going to be researched by the city manager and information gotten back to us.
Okay, there is no formal denial.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, we're still there. Can I ask, what was your evidence of denial?
Let's do the,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
David, Mr. Klein, could you put that in, that question?
It'll be in my management report.
Thank you, appreciate that. I want to try to keep the lumps in the right lump.
Thank you.
That's okay.
And the last one,
Okay, one more lump.
I had asked if Planner Hells had been able to contact the marijuana folks about getting a copy of the noise study, and
Where are we?
that would be 9D,
9D.
council announcements. I haven't heard anything back. This is the third meeting in a row I've asked. Maybe we need a follow-up column or something so we can go back.
Mr. Klein, will you put that in your management report?
I'm sorry, I missed because we were following with this.
Okay, this was count on 8D in your minutes.
9D.
9D, excuse me. Wanted to follow up on noise study. See that?
Yeah, is there a specific question? I think we've responded to you. So what was the specific question?
Did Hells contact the people that have done the noise study, or the people who are doing the marijuana plant, and ask for a copy of the noise study?
So let's put that in the management report, please.
Yes, that's fine.
Just want to make sure.
That's all, sir.
Thank you. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve with the correction that was made? Move. Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. We're going to visitor comments. I'm going to go first with Vicki Fetters from the Monmouth Independence Chamber of Commerce. Good evening. And welcome to City Council.
Thank you. I've got a presentation for you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Hi everyone, I'm Vicki Fetters, Executive Director for the Monmouth Independence Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Center. If I haven't met you before, it's nice to meet you. I'm just going to take a brief few minutes and show you guys what we've been doing in 2017 and what we hope to do in 2018. And I hope to make this a semi-regular thing where I update the City of Independence and people involved. So, what does this look like? Sorry, Karen. Oh, got it, thanks. So as of right now, our current membership is 169 active and courtesy members. A courtesy member would be somebody that is a smaller business that pays that individual supporter tier, or is someone that's another organization that we are members of their organization and they're members of ours. We're down by 13.91%, which is 21 members. We declined by 7.95%, which is 12, so our cumulative growth rate is 5.96%, which is in the positives. We like that. Here I did a breakdown of our membership by location. Monmouth and Independence are really close. We have 57 members in Independence and 69 members in Monmouth, as well as a few in Dallas, Rick-Rial, Salem, so on and so forth. And as far as visitor services go, at this point in time, by November, we've distributed 6,000 visitors guides. Those are our magazine publications. We've also distributed 2,000 relocation guides. Those are the big folders with brochures, business directories, maps, stuff for people who are looking to move to the area. And we distributed 5,000 visitor maps. Those were mostly distributed at the River's Edge Concert Series, the concerts in Monmouth, and a lot of the events over the summer. And we've recently started, within the last 6 months, having office hours at Indy Commons on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 5 p.m. As a further opportunity to allow visitors to come and get our information. Here's our website overview. We've had 7,387 users this year. This is different individuals coming to use our website. 10,021 sessions, that is how long somebody's used the website, how many times they've done that. And then 121,203 page views. That's pages on our website that got looked at. Our social media has 730 likes as of this point. We started out the year with a little bit less than 600, so there's been a lot of growth there. We have 715 followers, and that just varies. Some people like our things, but they don't want to get all of our notifications. On average per week, we reach 314 individuals, and that is organic, unpaid posting. And our average page views per week are 60 folks. And that's, again, organic, not paid for advertisement. Our events over the year 2017, we had 21 chamber forum and mixer events. Our awards banquet attendees, we had 194 attendees for that. Discover My Town, we had 63 attendees, and we hope to grow that to over 100 for this upcoming year, 2018. And then our member celebration, we had 51 attendees, and I'd like to see it get a little bit closer to 100 this year, and that's on Sunday, by the way. And then I did put a little bit more independence focus in for you guys. So out of our new members that I showed in our cumulative growth slide, 11 of those new members are in Independence. 12 forum and mixer events out of those 21 for the year were hosted by Independence businesses in locations like the library and what have you. And as of the new coming year of 2018, we'll have 9 Independence businesses represented on our board of directors out of 16 total board members. Upcoming changes in 2018, I'm going to be enhancing our social media presence, getting us more on Instagram and Facebook, and more regularly. Additionally, I'm going to improve our website for usage, making our tabs more easy to navigate, and focusing more for the usage of the website, whether you're looking at it as a visitor or a future chamber member or a business who wants to use our services. I'm going to be posting some more tutorials and online resources through our website so that if you're a small business operator who can't make it to our chamber events, you can still access the topics we cover and the information that we share. as well as continuing to be involved with IDA and with Monmouth and any local events to encourage tourism and honestly to just have some fun. And that's the slide. I'd like to open it up to questions if y'all have anything.
I appreciate you taking your willingness to come in and say howdy doody and check in, and you and I visited on a couple of times. I really appreciate your passion and your energy for the community.
And I'd like to add in also that, yes, do come to the member appreciation event on Sunday. There will be fabulous prizes. And the first drink is on the Chamber Board of Directors. And also, I would really like to encourage this council to consider a larger support for the Chamber of Commerce. The city does do several things right now for the Chamber, but they are things that the Chamber is accommodating the city. It is not unencumbered contribution. And there is a need for that unencumbered contribution. And if you go to the movie theater and look at all the different people that are advertised there for the Chamber, we get a pretty good play in Independence. And since there are 9 out of 16 board members now that are from here, I think we need to step up a little bit more and just give some unencumbered contribution to the Chamber.
Okay, thank you very much, appreciate it. Also in visitor comment, Jerry Price. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Jerry Price. I live at 657 Corsair Drive in the city, and further I'm property owner at 1150 Picture Street in Independence. And my comments, one for each. Where I live on Corsair, we're on kind of a dangerous corner where Stryker makes a hard right at blind corner. I've lived in this area for 13 years, and I've been waiting for the horrendous crash that's going to happen, because for those of you that are familiar with Stryker, traffic headed south on 51 that makes a right on Stryker hits the railroad tracks and then attempts to do 0 to 60 before they hit the corner, or at least that's the way it seems. One of the thoughts I had many years ago, although I hadn't verbalized it till this point, was to put in a mirror, much like they use in Japan. They have them on blind corners both ways, and it really aids. For those of us that live on Corsair, headed north on Stryker, it comes to, you come up to the corner, you look, you listen, and then you hit the gas because you're committed at that point and hoping you don't get broadsided. So I would hope the city would give consideration to putting in safety mirrors. As for my second comment, the property I own on Picture Street, it's at the very end, and I apologize I didn't look at timing, but it's been probably 2 years since Picture Street was repaved from Gun Club all the way down to the driveway of my property, stopping at the driveway of my property. Unfortunately, right in front of my driveway, as well as the driveway on the property across from mine, is very alligator, very poor condition in the pavement. When it was paved, I assumed they were going to do it all, and when I didn't see it done, I waited 2 or 3 weeks. I called the city and spoke with Public Works, and they indicated that the city had run out of funding to complete it, and explained that they had a choice, either stopping prior to the intersection, which I agreed at the time, better to do it there and leave it at the end of the street, but I was assured that once funding was arrived at, which at that time was indicated would be just a matter of months, it would be paid. Well, here we are, it hasn't gotten any better. It's getting wetter, and it's going to be a matter of time before it's mud. So I hope you will take that into consideration, as myself and the other property owners in that area pay a significant amount of money into the coffers here. I, for one, and I'm not real happy about it, but my sewage and water for my 10-bedroom, 5 full bath, 5 half bath unit runs in excess of $560 a month, which equates to, because I've got a single family home, also paying for 5 homes, yet I've only got 1 meter and 1 sewage connection. So I'm sure there's plenty of slop to where I put in between my property taxes and what I pay into water and sewer to have this repaired, and I hope you'll give me the consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Can I have staff, I've got the details here, can we have some staff follow up with the safety concern and anything else, David? Thank you.
I might also invite him to come to the Traffic Safety Commission concerning the corner. We talk about issues like that all the time. I don't know if we're going to have a December meeting, but we probably will have one in January.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll get your name and let you know when the
Yeah, that's
next
what I was
meeting is going to be.
That's what I was hoping would happen here, is that,
do we have all your contact information? Does the recorder have all that?
yeah, we have it all here. So Karen, if you'll just get that from me afterwards. Thank you, appreciate that. Any other public comments at this point? Okay, we're going to continue moving forward. We have other things to do, so I'm going to just move promptly to the commission board appointments for the 4th of July. You have them in your packet, and I'm going to assume, Councilor Hicks, this works okay with you too?
Yeah.
Okay. These are appointments to the Independence Days Commission. We need, since this is a city activity, we need to appoint these folks. Everybody okay?
I move to approve the slate of nominees of the Independence Day Commission as submitted by the mayor.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries.
I do have one question about this. I see that position number 2 for finance is vacant. Does the financing for this, or the check payments and money received, still come through the city finance officer?
Yes.
So is this a position that's necessary to be filled, or can that be filled by, or can adequate information be delivered by our finance department here?
I'm not sure at this point.
The commission prepares its own budget and submits that to finance. Other than that, the treasurer position on that commission takes care of, the processing of check requests that go to finance and monitoring their budget. That would be and the finance department really needs to be separate of that function.
So can the commission function without somebody in that position right now?
They are doing so right now, the chair assuming the responsibilities until we can find someone.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. City Manager, I think it's time for your report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. A few different things. I'll start off with a little piece of disappointing news. We thought we had a nice distillery moving into our city hall. Unfortunately, they had, I believe, financial stress at the end, and they vacated the premises. So we're back looking for a buyer on that facility. In the meantime, it turns out to be a little bit of good news for Toys for Tots. And actually, did you manage to get some pictures up for me, Karen? I thought this was kind of interesting. They are, there you go. It's just a small part of the toys that they've already collected. They expect to, I think, 5 to 10-fold what they have in this room right now, and pretty much fill up the old city hall and parts of our event center. So they're having a good year, and they're certainly hoping to have a better one. So that's a great program, and we're doing what we can to support them. And now they've got a little more space to work with in the old city hall, so a little benefit for them. If you haven't noticed when you were driving around, the lights are on Osprey and Main Street, a little bit different color because they're LED, but they're on. So that those that were concerned they would not be on in time for the light parade your concerns have been addressed. They look pretty cool. So get out there and see that. We are internally at the mayor's request, we're looking at expanding our newsletter to try and get in a little more substantive news about what we're doing. There's lots there's lots of information about the city that we feel needs to get out there, and perhaps we can assist the IO and the Independent in getting some of that word out there. So we're looking at expanding our offering and getting that in for the public at large. So that's going on. Working with the county to apply for a grant to do some feasibility work in the unincorporated area to expand broadband. The county's real interested, and I think we'll be taking the lead on that, but we are going to assist them. And Sean has been working closely with county commissioner, one county commissioner, in getting that done. So I think that's going to be moved forward, and hopefully that'll be an opportunity at the end for Minot to get on board and expand their offerings as well. But regardless, I think to get broadband into the county, and particularly to the agricultural community, certainly helps serve our mission. So that's ongoing. We had an opportunity, Sean and I, to teach a class, a Western class, down in the event center. We had a number of our own staff attend, talking about pretty much the history of Independence Landing, in whatever history you could do in 2 hours, with a focus on public-private partnerships. That is, definitely a buzzword of the trade these days. It's been a part of how we do our business for many, many years, us and other cities and other governments, leveraging other resources, both other governmental resources and private resources. So, we work best when we work in tandem, which is really what the Independence Landing is all about. And that's what urban renewal is all about. It's that kind of public partnership. Anyway, it was good. I think the class went really well, and we got a lot of good feedback from it. And this is our second year of doing this. So, we may end up in their guidebook next year as, Independence Landing 101, take your pick. We'll see what they pay. The refunding of the Minot debt that we have, Monmouth has joined us in this now, so we're looking at, we've had a joint conversation with them and our underwriters. We're looking at moving forward on both fronts, both debt issues, and probably in early December we're looking to schedule that sale, I believe the 8th, tentatively. But anyway, that's going to move forward, so that'll be an opportunity for Minot to save double, not only from us, but also from Monmouth, so that'll be good, certainly for that. Like the mayor, I'm having an opportunity this weekend to participate in a citizenship class. Budding citizens that are about to get sworn in, learning how to take on that new mantle and responsibility. It was something that I got to do back in my 20s. I got to do it back in the day as well. And so I get to talk a little bit about my experience, show off a little Spanish I know, and I think it'll be a fun opportunity. So we're doing that this weekend. I'm doing that this weekend. Looking forward to it. So respond to a couple of questions that just got raised. So on the IFA loan, again, there was not anything formal to us, and at the end we were advised by our engineer that our best bet was to go forward with DEQ. We weren't qualified for the grant, so after the grant, the best rate structure we had available to us was DEQ, and so that's what we took. So that's the history of that. Relative to the noise study, we've reached out to them twice. At this point, they have not responded. It's voluntary on their part. They don't have to turn over anything at this point. When they've completed both the initial baseline study, and then when they're going forward to complete their first phase of work, they have to do the next study, which shows the change between the baseline and operations. Then that's a public record for us to see. So
both of them will be public record when they've done two.
Yeah, the comparison of them, yeah, right. That I'm getting a nod of it from Zach as well, but yes. And since it's a two-phase project, there'll probably be, I think there's another one after that, at the close of phase 2.
Yeah, there's a series of subsequent follow-up.
Yeah, there's however they expand their operations, they're always on the hook shows that change in ambient noise levels. So that's the response to the questions. Is there any other questions or information I can provide you?
Yes, go back to the DEQ and the loan. Was that in response to the query about where is the evidence that we were turned down for the loan?
Yes.
And is there any
There was a conversation, I believe, an email from our engineer that said we're moving on to we're being advised we want to do the DEQ SRF, the state revolving fund, because it's the better approach for us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Did you have something else that you needed to do? You signed something that we needed to present?
Well, if this is an opportunity for that, yes, there is something.
I think that would be I think this would be the appropriate moment.
So we have with us today one of our long-serving members of staff that has gone a little bit unrecognized for that length of time, because I think we've missed it by just gone past a little bit, like a month or so, whatever. But 25 years of service with the City of Independence is, well, that's just a really positive story for somebody who started with the city, grew with the city. I wonder if you would like to take a moment to have Chief Mason come up here to receive an honor from you, if you could.
Come on up here so that we can get in. This is a certificate of appreciation for Bob Mason for 25 years of service to the City of Independence. I've always admired your professionalism, your passion, your energy for doing the right thing in all sorts of different ways, and not just as a police officer, but thinking about the total community. And I just want to, on behalf of myself, the council, and all of the city, I want to just give a small token of appreciation for the work that you've done and the work you continue to do. Thank you very much.
And Bob, I hope it comes with a healthy raise and more vacation.
We'll work on that in the budget.
Budget comes up later in the year. Okay, with that, under new business, I have a public hearing related to, yes ma'am? Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I was jumping ahead, I was excited. Councilor Takis, you get to report on traffic safety and historic preservation.
You almost took away my moment.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay, well, as far as Traffic Safety Commission, we actually have not had a meeting in the past couple of months, but there are a couple of things that are going on. We have one of those traffic speed signs on loan, apparently, and I haven't driven by it, but I think it's on Striker Road at the moment, and so we're gathering some data from that, checking out the speeds, and hopefully we'll change some behavior. We'd love to hear more about it.
Closer to the quarter.
Yeah, go for that. Okay. The other thing is, you've probably seen some of the painted on the sidewalk. There's some stickers about not skateboarding and such, and I believe just recently, and I haven't seen these myself, there are now some signs downtown telling people, kids mostly, but people not to be skateboarding or riding their bikes downtown on the sidewalks, hopefully keep it a little safer down there. So we'll see how those are received. And shall I jump into the next one?
Please do.
Well, we haven't had one of those meetings. we had to cancel that one. The Historic Preservation Commission. But I will say we are getting very, very close to coming up with the change in code for the Historic Preservation Code that we've been working for years, actually. It's just a little more tweaking, a little more reviewing, and I think it'll be ready very soon. I feel like I've said this before, but it's really coming, honest.
Appreciate you and the commission and the work. Councilor Hicks, do you want to talk at the Independent States Commission?
Yeah, unfortunately I missed this last month's meeting with a conflict with the program with my children, but the previous meeting, much of the discussion was about a website redesign and just ways of getting people to volunteer and letting them know earlier what's going on.
Appreciate that. Thank you for both of your reports. Okay, now I can go to new business, right, Karen? Thank you. We have a public hearing, and I have a script that I have to read. And so this evening we're having a public hearing on LA 02-2017, proposing amendments to the City of Independence Development Code to subchapter 34, Downtown Riverfront Code, and 73, Parking. The City Council will make a decision regarding these proposed amendments based on the complete record, including the testimony received at tonight's public hearing and the recommendations from the Planning Commission. These proceedings will be recorded. This hearing will be held in accordance with the land use procedures required by the City and the State of Oregon. This is a Type 4 legislative procedure. At the beginning of the public hearing tonight, staff will identify the applicable substantive criteria from the City's comprehensive plan and any applicable State of Oregon statewide planning goals. If you wish to speak, you'll get a chance to sign in. Please keep your comments to about 3 minutes, and if a bunch of people want to speak, if you can combine, that helps. Thank you for your cooperation with that. First, before we get into, do we have any counselors who wish to declare an actual or potential conflict of interest on this matter?
I could declare.
Could you declare what property you own?
I am co-owner of 235 South Main, Independence.
And you don't have an actual, but you just wanted to make sure that everybody's...
Yes, everybody knows that I do own property downtown.
I'm looking to staff. Does that sound like that's going to qualify?
I don't believe that's a conflict of interest. I think she could participate in the hearing.
Right, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that it was on the record. You have that, Karen? Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Anybody else? Okay. I'm going to open the hearing. And I'll now open the hearing on LA 02-2017 proposed tax amendments to the City of Independence Development Code, subchapter 34, Downtown Riverfront Zone and Parking. Zach, I'm going to let you go from here.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Zach Appel, City Planner. Karen, if you wouldn't mind pulling up that presentation, I would appreciate it. You remember we were in front of you last month requesting that the City Council initiate small set of amendments to the Independence Development Code, specifically Chapter 34. Chapter 34 is the Downtown Riverfront Zone. That is the site of the Independence Landing project that we're moving forward on. As is the case with any development code, you kind of need to make small tweaks as it becomes tested. And as we're moving forward with phase 1 of the Independence Landing project, we're understanding that there is definitely some need to make some minor adjustments to the Downtown Riverfront Zone. That's what we're proposing to you tonight. The one thing that was not included when we met with you in October was a modification to our parking standards. So in addition to the 3 adjustments to the Chapter 34 that we're talking about in the Downtown Riverfront Zone, we're also adding a minor adjustment to the city's parking dimensional standards. And those are included in your packet. To slightly complicate things a little bit more, the Planning Commission noticed that there were some corrections that needed to be made to our amended parking table that we have supplemented in your packet tonight. So I actually maybe not have supplemented yet, but Karen will pass those out. And then I'll explain the extent of those changes. So I'll quickly go through each of those amendments that we're proposing to make and just kind of summarize those. We'll talk about the applicable criteria and then I'll open up to any questions that you have. So the slide up on the screen shows the extent, the complete extent of the city's downtown riverfront zone shown in this lavender color. It's between C and E Street and just east of Main Street, between Main Street and the river. And that is, again, the complete extent of the downtown riverfront zone. The 3 amendments that we're proposing to make in that area have to do with increasing the allowable height exception for lodging uses in that zone, increasing the width of consecutively attached townhomes, And then clarifying what we think was an error in the original adoption of the code to differentiate the lot coverage requirements for commercial and mixed uses versus residential uses in the zone. Like I mentioned, we added a fourth item to your package to make some minor modifications to the parking dimensional standards. So the first one has to do with increasing the height exception for lodging uses in the downtown riverfront zone. So currently, rooftop equipment and appurtenances such as elevator equipment, rooftop stairs are allowed to be 60 feet in the downtown riverfront zone. It's become apparent to city staff in discussions with the developer on phase 1 of the Independence Landing site that 60 feet is not sufficient to accommodate elevator access to a rooftop deck, which our code allows to be 52 feet in height. So we are seeking an additional 7 feet height to that exception for a total height of 67 feet to accommodate rooftop access. And this graphic sort of generally shows the gray box is at 60 feet, and then we would be increasing that exception by an additional 7 feet. And it's essentially to accommodate a structure similar to what's shown on your screen. You can see there's elevator access to this rooftop deck, and then there's a pretty significant amount of area on the top of that landing for that elevator equipment, and that's essentially what we're requesting there. I would like to point out that because this exception only applies to rooftop equipment, specifically elevator equipment, stairs, and things like that, it won't consume the entire rooftop. It's specifically limited to these types of rooftop equipment or rooftop apparatus.
Independence is thriving in that background.
Quick question about that. Would it also apply to, say, an apartment building that also had a rooftop elevator if they so desired?
It will not. It will only apply to lodging use, which we define as roughly a hotel. So it wouldn't apply to other residential uses in the zone. It's a similar graphic, and we tried to put this together at the request of the council last time to just kind of show, again, what the relative impact is between the height exception that exists in the code today and what we're seeking here. And way off on the far left of the screen, it just shows the different elevations at Main Street, and then the elevation kind of near where we think the lodging use for the hotel will be on that site near Osprey Lane. Here's a couple of photos I snapped a couple weeks ago on a nice sunny day, just showing just some perspective views of looking east, I guess, from Osprey Lane, just to show this is sort of in the direction of where the hotel will be located. There aren't really views of the river from that elevation currently, so I just kind of wanted to point that out, that this additional height exception is likely not to have any significant impact on views of the river. And like I mentioned before, it is limited to that rooftop equipment and will not consume the entire rooftop. The second amendment we're proposing in this package before you tonight is to slightly increase the width of consecutively attached townhomes. The current maximum is 100 feet. We'd like to increase that to 120 feet for the basic reason that it just increases the amount of area on each of those units that can be devoted to the non-garage portion of that facade. So,
to the what?
I guess the non-garage door portion of each unit's front facade.
Why did you settle on 120? Why not 140?
And that's a good question. That's a good question. And I think the basic reason is that there is a benefit in limiting it, and that you do want to kind of create these blocks so that it's not just this continuous expanse. You want to kind of limit it to keep more of that single family or townhome type of feel and not give it more of a multifamily feel. But I think in what we were trying to achieve here is in the anticipation of having front-loaded garages where garages would come off Osprey Lane directly, and in recognition that there will be a garage on the front facade, allowing those units to be slightly wider so that the garage isn't the dominating appearance of those units. It can be kind of a little bit more width provided to the front entry of each of those townhomes. But that's a good question, and that's basically.
Isn't it the developer that asked to make them wider?
They're actually, so.
I mean, I'm assuming they want more square footage, so they're asking to make them wider.
That question was raised at the original meeting we had to talk about the height issue that came up. They're not actually ready to move forward with a phase that would implement these townhomes. It was just something that was discussed. Now, with the understanding that these units are going to be front-loaded, I think when the code was originally adopted, the idea was that those units may be rear-loaded, where the garages would be located in the rear of the units, and the vehicles would come around the back. But now it's looking like they'll be front-loaded, and this is a way to sort of give it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing appearance. The third amendment in your package has to do with, I guess, inserting a distinction between the lot coverage requirement for commercial versus residential uses. And the graphic on the screen shows kind of the current situation on the left that says basically all development in the downtown riverfront zone may develop at no greater than 50% of the total lot area. Staff believes that the intent of that language was meant to say that residential uses in the zone were to be capped at 50% lot coverage, but commercial and mixed-use development was intended to be developed at a minimum of 50% lot coverage. And that's consistent with other commercial and residential zones in the city of Independence. For instance, the downtown area, the mixed-use pedestrian zone, has a minimum lot coverage requirement of 50%, and the proposed amendment before you tonight would make that consistent with our existing commercial and residential lot coverage requirements. In the final amendment in your package, and actually in your packet it looks like a more significant set of adjustments, but it essentially allows standard vehicle spaces to be reduced from 10 feet in width, which they are currently today, to 9 feet in width. And that just recognizes kind of industry best practices and the fact that we have sort of excessively wide parking spaces in the city of Independence. And I guess the need for that is just that it frees up some additional space on a given development site for some extra development relative to a similar number of parking spaces. And that was a recommendation from the city engineering. As I mentioned, and Karen had handed this out, our original amendment package did have some errors in some of the dimensions of those compact spaces that have been since corrected, and those are shown in red in this latest exhibit B that you have in front of you. The applicable criteria are found in Independence Development Code Chapter 12 and various sections of the comprehensive plan. Again, the amendments are fairly minor and do implement the guidance provided in those applicable sections of code. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Question? And this was approved by the Planning Commission.
That's right.
As you presented this.
That's correct.
Thank you. Additional questions for the presenter?
What, under the small car thing, we talk about small cars and we talk about compacts. Is there a definition? Is there like, this is the small car, this is a standard car?
We have a definition for what is a standard space and a compact space.
I know, but I park in some of the compact, I've seen people park in compact, but sure don't seem compact. Although the average size is getting strong.
Yeah, good point. You know, I don't know. As far as I know, there's not.
Just so there'll be signage or something that says compact only.
Correct. Compact spaces are marked as such. That's right.
And it's when it says 10 or more total spaces require 20% of total, not 21, not 25, but 20. Is that right?
Let me check.
Well, it's just, it doesn't say a minimum of like we have on other things. It just says 20%.
It does say may instead of shall, so you can do up to 20%.
Sure, so that's correct, that's correct. So if the code requires 10 or more parking spaces, you may develop up to 20% of those at the compact size.
Okay. That's fine, as long as we don't end up because somebody wants to have a whole lot of parking spots. And I'm guessing that the developers are the ones that, or I don't know how we ever came up with deciding we want more parking spots, and then having a parking spot where you don't ding the doors, that's too wide. We need something where you have a little conflict. But I don't want to end up with something that's too small, whereas the normal Joe Doakes car, it becomes a combat zone. That's all.
Sure, and that's a great point, and I think that point is recognized by our city engineer. In fact, the table that is included in your packet, which we are seeking to steal from the city of Salem, actually, this is pretty much taken verbatim from the city of Salem, except that we've kept compact spaces at 9 feet wide, where the city of Salem's code allows compact spaces to be 8 feet
I found, when I did my research online, I found it was pretty much standard with what you got. I mean, there's some bigger and some smaller.
Yeah.
It just as long as we don't, 20% is important to me.
Sure.
Because I think we need to have them, but we don't need it overkill.
Sure. Yeah.
Additional questions for the staff presenter?
So this came from the city of Salem, because I was wondering, is there some sort of standardized formula for parking that, throughout the United States or in Oregon or?
Yeah, so each city has the autonomy to develop their own set of parking dimensional standards, but there are, I think there is guidance provided in certain engineering standard manuals and things like that, yes.
So the city of Salem has pretty standardized parking.
Correct. In my
probably
research,
also match Eugene or.
That's right.
So this is kind of came about because of the landing, but it's going to apply to everything in that river zone area, so we're going to change all that stuff, right?
This was actually something that was tacked on just because we saw this as an opportunity to make an amendment here. It was something I think staff recognized as desirable to change at this time. It wasn't really brought up as part of our conversations with regard to the lane, but yes, this will apply citywide. Our parking standards apply citywide, so these will not be confined to the downtown riverfront zone.
Additional questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to go to public testimony. I have Jim Walker, who would like to speak to us. Good evening, sir, and let us know where you're from.
Good afternoon, or good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Jim Walker. I'm with Studio C Architecture in Portland. I represent the developer on the project. I just want to talk about a couple of things. With regard to the townhouse item, we're really trying to find a good balance there to make a good streetscape. You asked about just wanting to get more square footage. It's really not about square footage. What we're really trying to do is get people on the street level. And so the more we reduce the length of the unit on the streetscape, the less square footage that is not the garage is on the ground floor, which means the streetscape is dominated a little bit more by the garage door. There's fewer windows and fewer front doors on the street. And so every one of those openings along that edge creates more opportunities for eyeballs on the street, and just improves the safety of that edge. Let's see here.
Wait, back up. So you're saying if we go wider, then we can see more?
Well, there's more.
I'm missing something, that's all. I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, there's more opening. There's the ability to have more opening between interior spaces and sidewalks. Does that make sense?
No.
And Council, you're trying to clarify here.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I remember several years ago when we had some serious discussions about snout houses and how that restricts the view from the street to the house, and it creates an opportunity for subversive activities because the houses can't easily be seen certain areas by other eyes on the street or by police driving by. And I think what you're trying to say is that the more house frontage there is over garage frontage, the more eyes there are watching out on the street and the visibility is improved.
Yeah, and one of the things, we look at a lot of cities, you know, where townhouses are prominent. In situations such as this where we need to have a garage, really, we have to have a garage. Once we start compressing things too much in that kind of length direction of any one unit, now we're talking we have about 10 feet for the garage itself and about 20 feet for that house frontage. That's where the 30 feet comes from. We wouldn't want it, we actually wouldn't want to go to 140. We think 120 is about right. And how we arrive there is just allowing that, again, 2/3 of the entire frontage is not the garage, it's allowing openness to be on the front of that. When we squeeze that, some of the living space, and can often, like if you go in all over in Portland, you see these townhouses with a garage and a door for a stair to go up. That's because they can't fit all of the living space on the ground floor. So that's what we're trying to avoid. To get that all happening at the sidewalk level. The other one I wanted to talk about briefly is the height exception. And I just wanted to point out what we're searching for there is the same thing that is available on the apartments, housing uses have a delta between the building height and the building height exception of 12 feet. And we're kind of just trying to do the same thing there, but on the lodging use. So that, again, you can just have the elevator and stairs come up to the roof, land, and that's kind of it. That's the only thing that would be up there, and it's really a kind of minimal space up there. I think Zach's image was, even though that was Portland, it's a different situation, it was a very good image. Can't give a visual of that.
Great.
But that won't be the way it is on the townhouses.
No, the townhouses are.
They don't have elevators?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Additional questions for the speaker? Thank you very much, appreciate it. Are there other people who wish to provide public testimony in this? If not, let's follow my script here. If not, without objection, I'm going to close the public hearing. Okay, council members, your thoughts, comments, and this is ultimately an action item. I like the work that people did on this. I think this is going to help move things along.
Yeah, well, and I attended the planning commission meeting last week, and I have to say the illustration really kind of, has set aside a lot of fears during this huge tall thing, and realizing it was really a very small section, the size, a little bigger than an elevator, just sort of peeking off the top.
Everybody okay?
I just had a question about what were the two amendments that the planning commission did? Was that just the parking spaces adjustment and?
Thank you. I don't think I did a very good job clarifying that yet. So there are in your new Exhibit B, there are some red bold text.
Okay, so it is those.
It's the curb length for certain compact vehicle parking spaces. And the other thing that they requested is that we swap out the hand-drawn parking diagram for something a little cleaner. So those are the two changes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Everybody else okay? This is an action item. We do have multiple motions on page 11.
And
please.
Mr. Mayor, before you start, I do have a clean copy, which the city attorney wanted me to make sure you have, of the exhibits to show you exactly what the legislation looks like, instead of reading the strike out.
I can work with strikeouts. Thank you. So it's the same thing we have, it just doesn't have the strikeouts in it?
Correct.
Okay, so it's the same. I went to parts of my life, I've had to do a lot of strikeouts and work around that. Okay, since this is an ordinance, if somebody would do the motions,
I would be happy to.
please do.
I move to read the proposed ordinance, Council Bill 2017-10 in full, as the text is contained in the council packet for the first time.
I have a motion.
Second.
Second, is there discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries.
An ordinance amending subchapter 34, downtown riverfront zone, and subchapter 73, parking of the Independence Development Code.
Someone do the second one?
I move to read the proposed ordinance, Council Bill 2017-10, for the second time by title only.
Motion.
Second.
Second, discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries.
An ordinance amending subchapter 34, downtown riverfront zone, and subchapter 73, parking of the Independence Development Code.
And the third one?
I move to adopt the proposed ordinance, Council Bill number 2017-10.
Have a motion?
Second.
Second, discussion. Everybody's okay? I think this is good for all of us. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
The bill
Appreciate
is
it.
passed and will be assigned ordinance number 1563.
Okay, we have the next item, Minnet debt service and loans. Good evening, Ms. Bush. Welcome.
Good evening.
I've got an update today regarding Minnet's coverage on their debt for the December debt service. It's slightly more than $178,000 that they will be seeking from the City of Independence, which is a great improvement from prior years. So that was more information only. According to the agreement with Minnet, they need to, come to the council and let you know and give you notice that they will be short on their debt. Last year, it was agreed that Minnet would report every month to the finance directors and have that information available for you on a monthly basis with an estimate. And so they have provided that every month, so that's been a nice, a good budgeting tool for us, and so that we're not surprised.
And they've been reasonably accurate, consistent throughout the months.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of this information item, unless there's protracted questions on this. It's pretty straightforward. Then if you'd like to move to the next items.
So the next item is revising the current outstanding promissory notes for debt shortages for the years between 2012 and it's, let's see, sorry. We've got two, like 6 of these. It would cover 3 years worth that are coming due. These are ones that cover the debt payments that were to those loans originally, that are stated as the 2010 A and B loans, full faith and credit loans, or obligations, and the Business Oregon Special Public Works Fund loan. Though that one was refunded back in 2015, so we're going to revise those promissory notes that was affected by those and come back to you at a later date with those revisions. So the ones before you now are coming due soon. They won't be able to make those payments on those. And they are seeking another 5-year extension on each of these before that are presented tonight, and as a more reasonable time frame for them to start paying back on these promissory notes.
So so the only thing changing is the due date, is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Additional questions for staff?
They're effectively saying, hey, we couldn't make the whole bond yet, so independent/non-independent is supplementing.
Correct.
And then Minet's saying, but we're gonna pay you back. And now they're basically saying, we'll pay you back in 5 years, before the new ones go ongoing, right?
Right.
And so that's really what this amounts to. And then the goal is for them, as they take over, as they can pay the total bond debt each 6 months, what's excess will go back to the cities to pay off these bonds.
Right.
I'm sorry, these debts, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
These the promissory notes,
Right.
for lack of a better.
Additional questions? Everybody okay? We got to do this before we knew this was coming. It's nothing new, it just changes the dates. If somebody would like to make a motion, there is on page 31.
I move to approve revisions to Minnet bond reimbursement agreements for December 2012, June 2013, December 2013, December 2014, and June 2015 debt service shortages as presented.
Second.
I have a motion, the seconds or discussion. Thank you very much. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Okay. Building codes. Klein.
Just keeps getting more exciting.
Thank you again. I'll start this off. The building official, Jeff Kennedy, is here in the audience, actually just to take any questions you might have, because I don't even pretend to begin to understand the difference between, well, I don't begin understanding the codes as we're presented, let alone the difference between the codes as they were and those that were presented to you. The point of this is, though, is to modernize our code to standardize with the latest state offerings and adoptions of standard building codes. So you have a laundry list of those codes that we are presenting to you. They're in your staff report. There are some 8 bulleted codes and appendices that are being offered to you to modernize the existing codes. What we're asking for you is to adopt these by ordinance as presented in the recommendation. But again, these are what the Building Code Division presents to us periodically. Every couple, 3 years, or every several years anyway, they tend to update codes to reflect current conditions, current technologies, building technologies, and practices. Again, any questions, I'll redirect those to Jeff Kennedy, who is here with us in the audience. Hey, Jeff, do you have anything to add to that or anything?
Yeah, that'd be great. This is just routine stuff, isn't it? They've changed something where
it is routine, but again, I feared the questions, so that's why I can't.
Additional questions? This is...
So I'm assuming that there was nothing in the revised codes that would cause the City of Independence any problems?
No, and we need to adopt them to keep up with our ISO rating for insurance purposes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's there you go. Is there any questions? I don't think there are. This is an ordinance and it's an action item, and if somebody would like to move this forward, that would be really helpful. Who would like to start?
I'll be happy to start, but I want to reserve a minute after we're done with this discussion to ask a question that is semi-related to Jeff. I move to read the proposed ordinance Council Bill 2017-07 in full as the text is contained in the council packet for the first time.
A motion,
Second.
second by Diana. Discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries.
An ordinance amending Independence Municipal Code, Chapter 6, Buildings and Construction, Article 2, Construction Codes adopted, and declaring an emergency.
Next person.
I move to read the proposed ordinance, Council Bill 2017-07 for the second time by title only.
Motion, second, discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries.
An ordinance amending Independence Municipal Code, Chapter 6, Buildings and Construction, Article 2, Construction Codes adopted, and declaring an emergency.
And the third one.
I move to adopt the proposed ordinance, Council Bill 2017-07.
A motion and a second, discussion. Glad we're all just get this done. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries. Councilor Morton, you had a
The
question.
bill has passed and will be assigned ordinance number 1564.
Thank you. Councilor Morton.
Yes, we still have the other ordinances to go through, is that correct?
Which one?
Well, there's an 09 on here too.
The election code.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get there.
Okay. As I said, this is only semi-related. In the interest of historic preservation, I believe there is now only one corner in the city of Independence where all four corners still have the old wagon wheel strapping on them. And I think that's at 3rd and Monmouth Street. And I would like to suggest that maybe we think about preserving at least one corner with that on it because it does speak to Independence history.
Thank you for that comment. I'm sure Mr. Irvine will take that and track it. Is that okay, Mr. Irvine? Yes. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, like him. Sure. Okay. All right. Amending city election code. Who carries out?
Well, my name's on the memo, but actually Karen prepared this, and this is really just clarifying a situation that has been created a fair amount of head scratching. It's very difficult, and Karen testified that it's very difficult for her to go back and, calculate what the actual registered voters were on that specific date from, that has passed. The county recorder, the county elections office doesn't really track that information in a very helpful manner. So this is in keeping really with better practices, best practices. If somebody pulls a petition, whether it's for purposes of an initiative, a referendum, the date that you calculate is based on the date that the petition is pulled. Is that
Petition is
correct?
filed.
So that gives a certainty as to what the number of registered voters are on that date. And then when they go out and petition, then they start getting signatures, they'll know exactly that number. Otherwise, it's quite an effort to do that calculation, and has been in the past. So this just brings some certainty and some ease of operations.
What does it mean, based on the date the prospective petition is filed? What's filed mean?
That means if somebody wants to file a petition with me to go out and gather signatures, then
It's at the start, not
that's
the end.
the start.
Gotcha.
I have
The
the
very
same
first day.
concern.
Yeah.
They were chasing a losing target.
No, it's the very first day that they file and say, yeah, we think we want to do this, and so that's the first day.
Okay.
I didn't have a chance to look this up, so I'll ask this now. What is section 2-462 that is referred to this?
It is the, I'm sorry, I knew the answer to that one, because I had looked it up myself. It just refers to the filing of the petition with the city.
Yeah, it's the form you provide.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have to provide a certain form.
Okay. Just makes it easy and clears it up well in advance of any question. Is that okay with everybody?
The 10% is the same as what it was before.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just
Percentages are all the
base
same.
number.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, quick question,
Yes.
most likely for Karen. So I mean, is that information number of voters that you're able to get to the person filing the petition in a timely fashion?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
She wants to know if you're able to tell them how many how many signatures they need when they file the petition.
Yeah, it would make it a lot easier because I could just make a phone call to the county clerk and she would have that information right then and there.
Oh, okay, that's what I wanted to know.
It'd be more timely.
Yes.
More time.
Perfect.
Okay? Alrighty, this is an action item, and we get to do the three for, do I have my three for in here?
Well,
I think we can do this.
I do, so I can start if you would.
Please do.
I move to read the proposed ordinance Council Bill 2017-09 in full as the text is contained in the council packet for the first time.
A motion?
Six.
Second, discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries.
An ordinance amending Independence Municipal Code, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 7, Initiative and Referendum, Section 2-465, Filing and Percentage Requirements, Verification, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, somebody can do the second one, please?
You just mentioned
Go ahead.
07 but
Yeah.
109. Okay. I move to read the proposed ordinance, Council Bill of 2017-09 for the second time by title only.
A motion?
Second.
Second, discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries.
An ordinance amending Independence Municipal Code, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 7, Initiative and Referendum, Section 2-465, Filing and Percentage Requirements, Verification, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, the third one.
I move to adopt the proposed ordinance, Council Bill 2017-09.
Have a motion?
Second?
Second. Everybody okay? All good. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Bill passed and will be assigned ordinance number 1565.
Okay. We have a surplus property hearing. And Mr. Klein, excuse me, I'm out of order here. I need to do my executive session first?
No, you're in order. I just don't know if you want to open the hearing or if taking these the first piece of testimony or have me lead and then open the hearing. That's your call.
I'll open the hearing and then we just, yeah, we might as well open the hearing, hear the staff report, and anybody else who has anything else to say.
Okay.
So I'm opening the hearing on surplus property. Lost myself in my papers here, excuse me. Go ahead.
Okay. This is a hearing pursuant to Oregon statute to both consider the surplusing of Lot 8 of Ossipee subdivision. That is a lot that was created as part of the whole Independence Landing project, designated for commercial use in that project, and also to consider an offer that we've received for the acquisition of that lot, a private offer that we received for the purchase of that lot. This hearing was properly noticed in pursuant to statute. You have my report in your file that details much of this further. Spent a lot of time largely on the offer, but also the surplusing. Karen, I don't know if we have an updated form of a resolution. Otherwise, I have a revised provision that we can read into the record when you get that far. You do have that. So I should note here that items 6, 5, 7, and 8.1 are all really combined in this one item. The executive session is there for your pleasure if you want to discuss the particulars of the offer with your staff. So with that, I think I've covered the basics of what this is about. You have the staff report, and I think you take testimony from anybody in the public. I know we have Amy and Aaron Young here, who are in fact the folks that made the offer on the property.
Thank you. Questions for staff at this point? First of all, we're talking about surplus property. We have to declare a piece of property surplus before anything else can happen. Okay, so I'm now going to open. We already are open. If anybody has any public testimony they'd like to make at this time, this is your opportunity to come forward.
Mayor, Council, I appreciate you giving us an opportunity to come up and speak tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Aaron Young. My wife Amy and I, we own the Realty Group down on Main Street. We have been in this community for 50 years. We've grown up right here on these streets, and so we feel like we have a real good grounding and a bedrock in this community. So I'll touch on the project just a little bit. What we propose is a mixed-use building, 3-story, commercial on the bottom, office in the middle, and some type of residential on top, condos, apartments, whatever seems to work and fit with everybody. And I'll touch a little bit more later on the conception of why we believe that that is a good fit for the community. It's a permitted use on that piece of land. And the style and design of that, our intention is to build maximum lot coverage, height, put as much square footage as we can that's allowable within the city code, and to try and create an opportunity and an environment that provides a lot more opportunity to the community. Quite simply, that's the bottom line. There's an economic piece that goes with this where you can't build too small to have it make sense on paper, and you can't build too big, but there is a happy medium, and there we want highest and best use with the property, and that is our intention. So we'd like to put a beautiful building down there that conforms with the look and feel of Independence, what we grew up with, but also has a bit of style to it that says, hey, Independence is growing, we're open for business, it's consistent with the hotel development, and more importantly, it's something that the community gets behind and enjoys and likes. That's important to us. So with that, the conception of this idea really came out of when Amy and I were looking for a place to put our business. We wanted to be in Independence. It's our home, it's where we grew up, it's where all our memories have been created, our families are here, and it basically is our history of our life as Independence. We have no intentions of moving. We want to finish out our days here, finish out our business careers here. So when we were looking for a spot, guess what? There isn't any. It's a need that doesn't exist. We have a few things under construction, some revitalization of historic buildings and stuff, but they weren't really a perfect fit for us. Those buildings are better used for restaurant style stuff, or stuff that services more of the community than a business like ours. So when we found a spot, we moved into it immediately and opened up the doors, rolled our sleeves up, went to work, and feel like we built something that is pretty nice and enhanced the downtown area. At least we've had a lot of comments to say that's what we've done, and so we've taken a lot of pride in it. But what we didn't expect was the picture laser view we got looking out that window right into downtown Independence, basically into the heartbeat and the soul of what is Independence. And what I mean by that is the traffic, the people that walk the streets every day. I can't tell you the amount of people that we see pull up, get out of their cars, walk the streets, looking in these buildings, looking for a destination or looking for a spot to go. And frankly, there's not a lot of opportunity. We know it's coming. I mean, we all know you guys have done a tremendous amount of work to bring industry here and the development down there. So we know it's coming, but we're not quite there yet. We see people get in their cars, we see people leave. But we took it a step farther rather than just watching what was going on the street. And in the summertime, we're talking hundreds of people. And a lot of these people aren't even from here. A lot of people are, but a lot aren't. So we went out and we started interacting with these people and asking them, why are you here? What do you want to see? What's important to you? And the answer was always the same. What a lovely little town. We love it here. What a cool place to be. It's really, really cool. You guys have done so much with this. So with that, the other part of that was we really wish there was more opportunity. And so with this building, that's kind of the conception of why we decided to do this. And so that sparked the idea of, hey, let's build something down here that makes sense. Let's put businesses down here that the community wants to see, that visitors want to see, restaurants, entertainment, wineries, eateries, pubs, things like that, the things that people enjoy. So that's kind of the brainchild behind wanting to build a project like this downtown. So with that, a little bit about Amy and I's experience. We've been in real estate and in the construction and development industry for a very long time, 40 plus years combined between the two of us. Amy's experience has been on the residential side and all facets of that, but more importantly, and this is a key element of this, I believe, is in the commercial property management side. And I think that's a key point I'll bring up in a minute. My construction background has been since I was a little kid, born with a hammer. I've been on the jobs, I've mixed mortar, laid bricks, swung a hammer, done that most of my life. It's all I know. I was a general contractor for many years, ran many crews, done large subdivisions. That moved into more of a project management role and an investment role and more kind of a finance role of putting the parts and pieces together. So I have a pretty good understanding of all the parts and pieces, what it takes to be on the ground to get the project done, what it takes to get all the funding put together to get it done, if it even makes sense to get it done. But above and beyond that, there's a feeling of belonging here and what needs to be done here that makes sense for the people. So it's more than just a building that can have a monetary benefit to not only the people that develop it, but to the city as well. It's a much bigger picture than that. So we have the experience, we have the horsepower to get something like this done. I've done large multifamily apartment complexes, 300-400 doors, storage facilities. To me, it's the nuts and bolts of doing a project like this are pretty simple. The hard part of the project is bringing the people together and then coming up here and getting in front of you guys and trying to convey to you all the feeling and thought that goes into it. That's the hard part. And ultimately getting your approval. At the end of the day, you guys are the decision makers to allow something like this to move forward. So with that, we have the experience to do it. We have the financing in place to do it. I think it can be an outstanding project, one that is more community-oriented rather than an outside developer. Nothing wrong with that, but it'd be really nice to see something get built by the people of this community that they can get behind and enjoy. And so, I lost. Help me.
You're doing just fine.
I'll just close. It's a good project. It makes sense to be done. The people need it. The people are asking for it. We have the experience, the horsepower. We have the financing to do it. We have the drive, the dedication. More importantly than that, we have the most to lose if it fails. And we all know what a failed building is like here in town. And you guys have adopted some stuff, some development agreements that have helped safeguard that. And I think that's great. I support that, and I'm more than happy to support that. But we stand here ready to ask you to take a chance on us. We're local. We've been here 50 years. We plan on being here another 50 years, I hope. We think it's good for the community. We'd like it to be a local project as much as possible. We don't have the resources in town to do a project like that, but as much as possible we'd like it to be. I know that you have the authority to table this proposal for a while if you'd like. I ask you not to do that. I ask for your vote. Timing is a little bit of the essence of this. We would like to get going on this and we'd start tomorrow. Quite simply, it means that much to us. We'd start tomorrow. I think we've done the due diligence as far as it being public, right? I think we're good there.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, it's been in the paper, and we're the ones here ready to do this. So I'm getting long-winded.
Aaron, can I have
please
one question. Dimensions of the ground floor. How many square feet?
As much as we can get.
That's a great plan.
I
got that you were going to build to the lot lines if possible.
Yeah, well, there's some parking we have to consider if we do residential on top, but what makes the most sense, and what we've penciled out just roughly 36,000 square feet roughly, and I think we just figured that because at that time the code was half coverage, right? And so we've taken some steps to change that. So our plan is to maximize it, and fill it up with people. That's in our best interest.
36,000 roughly on the ground floor?
Roughly, that's what's on paper. That's what we've penciled with our cost analysis now.
That's your total building.
That's the total building, not ground floor.
Okay,
oh, I'm sorry, total
so it'd
building.
be 12,000 12,000 square feet. Okay, that gives me a point of reference, because I know the library is 7,500.
Yeah, sorry, correction.
That's fine. Additional
I got
questions?
a question.
So I have a question. You mentioned 40 years of experience. Where was this experience? Is it like?
Salem, Portland,
Salem,
mostly, yeah. Salem,
south at all,
Portland,
or-
Coast,
Okay.
Albany, Eugene,
Okay.
pretty much this area.
And same thing with the property management thing?
Absolutely, locally with the property management.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
No, others.
Additional questions?
Well, I don't know exactly what we're questioning right now.
Just anything that you want to know from him at this point, because what I'm going to do is after Mr. Young speaks, if there's anybody else who wants to make public comment, we'll take public comment. Once public comment is over, we're going to go to executive session because we want to visit with our real estate negotiator. And then once we come back, then we will decide what actions that we want to take. Now, if we need to at that point, if there's any additional questions that pop up, we can reach out and ask for additional, if there's a piece of additional information, we can do, we're allowed to do that. So that's what the strategy is to move forward from here. Okay?
Will they still be here?
I'm sure,
Still be here when we come back?
I'm sure he'll be here.
Okay. I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I think your proposal is great. I really like the whole logic behind it. It sounds reasonable. When you said you've got the financing already, you meant you've got this financing for the lot. You don't have the financing for the whole building yet, do you?
Yes, we do.
You do? Okay. And you're looking at basically a little over 2 years from when you get the go-ahead, if you get it, to basically completion, which is aggressive, but you...
Yeah, we're governed by the development agreement on as far as our due diligence and time period to do that. It's in our best interest and
Faster the better.
is to get it done sooner. We'd like to shoot to get started right away and get started in the spring when the weather breaks the break ground. That'd be our goal.
That's another question, but I want to go...
You're going to wait, okay, that's fine. Additional questions at this moment, and I'm sure they're going to stay in case we have any posts.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to let anybody else who needs to speak at this point. Thank you very much. Are there other people who would wish to speak about this at this time? Okay, without objection, I'm going to close the public hearing, and we've gotten anybody who wanted to testify in this. And what we'll do then, close this hearing, we're going to go to executive session where I have formal words to read. The City Council will now meet in executive session for the purpose of negotiating real property transaction pursuant to ORS 192.6602E. Representative of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report any of the deliberations during the executive session except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision will be made in executive session. This time the council will adjourn the conference room for the duration of the executive session. Once the executive session has adjourned, we'll return to open session in the council chamber. Any decisions from the executive session will be deliberated at this time. So let's do this, council. Let's take about 5 minutes to get to the executive session, and we'll go from there. Okay? See you in about 5. We're back into regular session. Are we good on TV? Motion. Okay. Karen, we good? Okay. Council members, we have action. I think we would like to move on. If someone would make follow the suggested motion, then we could begin moving forward. On page 60, I think.
I move to declare, I move to adopt resolution 17-1467, declaration of surplus property.
Second.
Okay, second. Did we want to, I'm going to go back and make sure you got the same thing. On page 60, the recommendation, see that one? Because it's more inclusive than what you just mentioned.
I'm looking at a pretty short one, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I help you with that?
Please.
The resolution is both surplus, it acts to surplus the property as required by state law, and it also acts to accept the offer that is presented before you. authority. So if you look at section, the two, be it resolves in 1467,
I
that's.
can't say so moved.
Not this council.
And I do need to read that.
Well, wait a minute, let me get one thing first, please. And so, am I in the right place here? Did you find it, Tom?
It is
Right.
It's up on our screens now.
Oh, thank you, there it is. Tom on screen, right there.
The recommended suggestion open.
Yeah.
So I need to read the recommendation.
Yes.
It is recommended that Lot 8 be declared surplus, the sale of the property be authorized as presented. And the following motion made, I moved that the resolution 17-1467 be adopted as presented.
And I conform my second to that.
Okay, that's fine. I have a motion and a second. We now have discussion. And so I want to make sure that everybody understands that when the state of Oregon has said surplus property is when a piece of property is not continued to be used, that the city doesn't need it for essential services. And from the very beginning, when we've been working on the Independence Landing project, it has always been our desire and plan from the very beginning to not hold this property and to have it ultimately put out for development. And that the wording the state uses is goofy.
Unfortunately.
That might be better. But and we can't do anything with it unless it's officially declared as surplus. And does that clarify? And does any councilors want to add? Because I was trying to be really clear there, and I don't know if
That makes sense.
Is that okay with everybody? Is that clear? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. And so that's what we are going to do here. Is there further discussion on this? I just want to say I'm really excited about all of this. I'm very excited about how this continues to move our community forward. I'm excited about the plans that you outline. The development agreement, I think, is good for both of us, for all of us, and I think it's good for the whole community. I think it continues to move the vision for our community forward. The Independence Landing Totality Project, I think, is wonderful, and it's doubly exciting that we have some local folks able to help make this happen. And I'm thrilled, and I don't know if anybody else would like to offer comment.
Well, Amy and Aaron, thank you very much for your offer and your thoughtfulness. It makes sense. It's a good project. It makes sense for a lot of people, not just the city or us, but all the people in the city. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. I think it's going to be exciting. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I think we show our appreciation by voting on this thing.
I think that's it. I have there. Oh yes, Karen, you had something you needed to read.
Yes, because you will need to have your motion amended now.
Okay.
Okay, so under the first, it is hereby resolved, as submitted in the council packet. It is hereby resolved is now changed wording a little bit to this. It is hereby resolved by the Independent City Council to declare Block 8 of the Osprey Landing subdivision as surplus and no longer needed by the city, based upon the recital set forth above and the city manager's staff report attached as Exhibit A, both incorporated herein by this reference.
Okay, is that acceptable?
I will accept that.
Seconder is okay?
Yes.
All right, everybody good?
Yes.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We have some announcements. Councilor Day, you had something to bring up in front of us.
Well, we were asked by the state of Oregon to have a volunteer to work with the state relative to the long-term status, the master plan for the Independence Airport. I'm a little too close to it, and I'd like to recommend somebody that, Michael Hicks, for example, is in the airport, but he's not tied to the airport as I am with the EAA chapters and all the other things. But I think we need somebody from the council to represent us. There will be other people from the EAA or from the airport or from private citizens, but in this case.
And this is for the development on the west side of, is that
No, not just the west side. It's a master plan. So
Okay.
they did one a number of years ago, and they're gonna look at redoing it again. And it will certainly involve the West Center.
Mr. Irvine, did you want to add additional clarification?
Yeah, well, this is the State of Oregon Department of Aviation is doing a master plan for the airport itself. The project you were referring to, the planning effort for the kind of nearby industrial area, is the grant that we, the city, put in. We have not yet heard back from that.
Okay.
I'd be happy.
You'd be happy to? Any problem with that? Got it done. Thank you, Council. Additional announcements.
This weekend is the trifecta. There is the, on Friday night is the tree lighting over at Western Oregon University. And there are attended ceremonies and activities. This is the 50th annual tree lighting, so it's a big deal. On Saturday is the Santa train at the Independent Cinema parking lot. The train will be, of course, on the tracks, but that's where the kids will gather. And then the Parade of Lights in Independence, and then the downtown open house for everybody that will be conducted at the Elks Club. So this is something
There are
that...
2 receptions at the Elks
Oh,
Lodge
are there?
today. One's immediately following the Santa train, and the other after the parade.
All right, so this is a very involved community, and they're approving it this weekend. And then, if you are a chamber member or thinking about joining, there is a member appreciation event for the chamber at Crush at 2 o'clock on Sunday, and it is first drink on the board of directors.
Great. Additional comments? If anybody needs to say anything else?
I'll just throw out my little plug that the annual dinner and auction fundraiser for our local YMCA Scholarship Fund is December 8th. There are a few tickets still available. Call the Y and you can buy them.
Great.
It'll be a lovely evening.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. I think that, I just wanted to tell you. David made a comment earlier, and I just wanted to, I had the pleasure, and I don't think I shared this group, of speaking to a citizenship class at St. Patrick's Church. Was it last Saturday? I'm sorry, this is my Saturday. My Saturdays have
The
melded.
classes are on Saturday mornings.
Right. And I gotta tell you, it was one of the most heartwarming events that I have been to see all those folks working hard to become citizens of this country. And as you know, I'm an immigrant. I'm a naturalized American citizen from December 1961. And they gave us the brand new 50-star flags. That's how long ago it was. And I gotta tell you, it was...
I was already born.
And I just want to tell you, it was so heartwarming just to be able to visit with these folks and how committed they are to not just our community, to our state, and our whole country. It reaffirms the optimism that we have in this city, and it was shared by those folks, and they're very happy to be part of Independence, and they're going to be very happy to be part of us. And I just wanted to say it was one of those very, very special moments in my life, and I just wanted to share that with you. And without any objection, let's go home.
To adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for adjourning.